your blood test, and then we'll talk. And then just get me on medicine so I'm not in pain, was kind of the attitude. So the nurse leaves, and we're kind of looking at each other like, there's no way, right? Like there's no way. Like, we're not on medicine. We're not, we're going to the doctor every 5 minutes. We're not recording all these levels and all this crazy stuff. And the nurse comes back, and she says, well, we tested your blood, and you're definitely pregnant, and your numbers are, I forget what they were at, something crazy. Something like every time she was pregnant, her numbers were like less than 10, like way less than 10, like 2 or 3, and I think at this point her number was like 50. And so we're like, what? Like, first off, we got a positive pregnancy from a urine test, which never happens with her. But not only that, but the numbers are 50 at this point, and just like looking at each other, like obviously the pain went away immediately for her. It's like, what kidney stone? I'm good, But the nurse said, so are you taking any medicine that you have to be on? Well, she's like, well, Laura's like, yeah, I'm taking this medicine that if I don't take it, I will more than likely lose the baby. And right then and there, we knew that that's why God gave her the kidney stone, even though they never found evidence of a kidney stone. Or at least God gave her the pain to go in there, because what that did is that made us get it into gear, get an appointment the next day, and get her back on that medicine. And it was just amazing, because all of a sudden, all these pieces of the puzzle were coming together. We're like, whoa, is this real? Like, we're just kind of like this. We know that God has you in the ER right now for a reason, because he wants you back on that medicine. And when we went in and talked to the doctor, and he saw the results, and he's talking to us, and he's leaving, we're like, is this real? He's like, yeah, this is for real. This is a for real pregnancy. You're pregnant. And we just were like, what? We still were just like amazed by this. And at that moment, it was like in that moment, we remembered, wait a minute, a month ago we were at council, and we were getting prayed for, and we believe God healed us. It's so easy to forget in those moments. Yeah, God healed us. It felt like God healed me, but did he really? Again, it's easy to forget. And it was all of a sudden that moment, we just felt God was bringing us in this long journey around. But before we got there, we had to come to a place where both of us were like, God, if it's your will that we don't have kids the natural way, we're okay with it. We had to come to that place before he would finally allow us to have a kid. Because what if he didn't? What if we were here and I know a lot of people that are there. They can't. What if that was us? The grief, the pain that we went through was just grueling. This inner battle, the same battle that David is having, his circumstances are different. Many of you are having this same battle. Your circumstances might be different. But the thing that was so amazing is we still had faith in God. We still held on. We clung to the hope that we had in Jesus. We trusted in him, and in the end, he did not fail us. That's not saying that, I'm not saying fail us as in we're having a child. That's a miracle. We're blessed to have the child. But he didn't fail us because he brought healing to our hearts. He didn't fail us because even though we put hope in him in that moment, he came through and he showed us how real he was. The reason I'm not focusing on the fact that Laura's about to give birth to a baby, and that's a blessing from God, it's a miracle. I'm not downplaying that. That's amazing. But if that's all we're seeking is for God to do that one thing, and if he doesn't, we're done with him, then there's something wrong. And that's what it was at first. It was kind of like, God, fix that problem. Fix that problem. And what was amazing is that wasn't the problem that needed to be fixed. He needed to heal our hearts. He needed to go in here and do work. We needed to get to a place where we said, God, you know what? If that's not your will for our lives, then so be it. Show us your will for our lives. And that's where we had to get to. And it was amazing the work that he did because we clinged to the hope that we had in Jesus Christ. I don't know where you're at this morning. I've been wanting to share this for a while. It's been in me. It's been burning inside of me. This passage has been burning inside of me. I don't know where you are at this morning. But many of you are probably dealing with some sort of a trial. It doesn't necessarily have to look like what I said. Some of you are dealing with things that are way worse than I've ever dealt with, and I can't even imagine how you deal with it. Some of you are grieving and going through a place where there's a gap between your mind and your heart, where you know the truth, but you're just not feeling it right now. I want to give you permission to grieve. It's okay to grieve. It's okay to sometimes just to be angry with God. He's a big boy. He can handle it. But I give you encouragement to cling to the faith and the hope that you have in Jesus Christ, because there will be a time when you will come back around and your heart will be lined up. I know that because he did it to me. I was getting to a place where I was wondering, how long am I going to have to go through feeling like I'm just dragging my heart behind, hoping that one day it catches up? How much longer do I have to deal with this? And I guarantee you, you will get to that place. And when you do, it is the most amazing thing ever. We serve an incredible God. He created this entire universe. How could we ever think that he can't do a work in us? How can we ever think that? At this time, can we just have somebody come up and from the worship team play piano? And I don't know where you guys are at. I know that there's many issues, there's many needs, there's many things going on in your lives because there's more than one of us in this room. We all deal with our trials, but I'm telling you today, if you're there, if you're having feelings like this, if you're dealing with things that you need to go to him, you're grieving, you're dealing with issues, we want to take this time to respond to God. Even if it's just you sitting there crying and letting other people pray for you, that's okay. You don't have to have the strength on your own to come up and respond to God. But these altars are open. For the next couple of minutes, these altars are going to be open for you to respond to God. We can all stand at this time, and we're just going to come into a time of prayer. And the altar over here, to my left, your right, that's going to be if you want somebody to come up and just pray over you and pray for you. And maybe you're in a place where you don't want really somebody to come up and pray over you, but you just want to come by yourself. That's going to be the altar to your left, my right. You can come up and just pray between you and the Lord. But let's take this moment to respond to him.